Welcome to a tasting video slash wrap up to me making my own wine. This is not a wine kit wine I made. This is a wine I made from actual grapes. It is currently March 31st, 2018. Happy birthday to my fiancée Sarah, which for some might be my wife by the time you watch this. Who knows? Who knows how far in the future you guys are watching this? But I made a wine back in September. September 7th was when I uploaded the video. I'm in Glendale, California. I drove up to Santa Clarita, California. There's a vineyard up there, and I got grapes from a guy who makes wine, who Sarah works with. His name is Jasper, and he has a company called Angelino Wine. And as I'm saying this, as I'm making this video, he just opened up a location in Chinatown in Los Angeles area. And as far as I understand it, he's the only Los Angeles winemaker making wine in Los Angeles. Awesome. And he sold me about 100 pounds worth of grapes. And the grapes were Tempranillo. And I brought them back here to this garage. Crushed it with my feet, which is awesome. I've always wanted to do that. Fermented it in a trash can. Pressed it down, pressed the cap down every couple of days. Fermented natural yeast that was on the grapes, which I'm huge on, because you just can get better flavors that way, in my opinion. Once I was done fermenting, got down to 0 brix. I put it into a wine press, cranked it out, the wine, pressed it out. I got that wine press from my homebrew shop. Got about 7 gallons out of it. Then after about 2-3 days, I wanted all the sediment to kind of filter out of that. Transferred to another secondary. Here I am. We're pushing about almost 7 months right now. I think it's about ready to be bottled. I'm going to taste it though. I've tasted it once before, and I tasted it back in December-ish, January timeframe. Brought it to Jasper. He tasted it. He said, "You're on track. You're doing well." I'll post the details to the winemaking video that I originally had done in the description below. I'll also post it at the end of this video so you can see it. So that was a rough summary. Let's taste it. Let's see where we're at. The biggest fear that I was concerned with was oxidation. Because like sour beer, this can get oxidized and you get acetobacter into it, and which can turn into vinegar. And I just don't want that. So I had an airlock on it, and the one tasting I did do, I filled the headspace with CO2. I also filled the whole thing up to the top, right to near where the airlock went on, so I wouldn't have any oxygen problems. After I taste this too, I'm going to purge it with more CO2. Well, it's not vinegary. It's very dry. It's odd. It almost has like an eggy smell to it, but that's weird because usually I get that with like sulfurs and stuff, but it's very, very minimal. I don't hate it. Let's see what the pH is. This is obviously uncalibrated. I'm not going to put this in any sort of distilled water or calibrator or anything, so I'm just going to get a loose idea of what I'm dealing with here. So this isn't very accurate. It says it's at 4. It has to be lower than that. Definitely tastes lower than 4. As it sits here, actually it's okay. It's very, very minimalistic, but it's also a little young. It's harsh. It's not well-rounded. It doesn't have a smoothness to it. So even with that little sulfur thing going on, it needs to sit a little bit. So I'm going to let it sit for another 2 months. Let's jump in sometime in the future from now. This is it. The day has arrived. July 15th. It's bottling day. Should have done this about 2 months ago, but here I am. Better late than never. Sarah's going to help me on this. Let's get it cracking. So I was looking up online how to sanitize this, and a lot of people said use potassium metabisulfite, which I do have. One of the reasons why potassium metabisulfite was used was to kill wild bacteria and wild microbes getting in. They use it to put it in the wine too before you even bottle. A lot of winemakers do. But I messaged the winemaker I got the grapes from, and he said, "Don't worry about it, you start sand." So here I am. I'd imagine that might be a little different on a bigger scale, but maybe it isn't for some people. Natural wine is very, very common, so maybe it's more common just to be a little looser with it. So let's go for it. I did spray these corks, by the way. Sarsan I don't think it's needed that much, but if anything, it'll help going easier. Gonna let them sit now for about a month or two and do an initial tasting. They might need to sit for a little longer than that to get the full complexity and all that out of it. But the fact that I already bottled it 3 months late, I already probably started that process a little bit. So see what the tasting. This is it. It's been bottled now for 3 months, I want to say. There is a slight concern about this. And when we bottled it together, we did taste it afterward, and it had a pretty intense nail polish remover flavor to it. For those who are not aware of that, in the wine world, it's called volatile acidity, and that is essentially oxidation with heat, especially. Same thing can happen in beer, ethyl acetate, high fermentation temperatures, also oxidation for sour beer. Now, I'm hoping that this was just the last part of the wine. We'd taken it off the last like dregs of the stuff at the bottom. We did smell it as we were bottling it. It did smell fine. Good. So I didn't taste it like when we were doing it early on, but we'll find out. This bird loves to chirp when I come out here.
Your video bird.
The other issue is I did keep it in the heat the whole time, all through summer.
Which, when you talk to some winemakers, they were like, "Oh."
Yeah, you don't do that. But when I talked to the guy who I bought the grapes from, he said, "Don't worry about it." I think why I said don't worry about it is because it's my first wine, so just make it and see, just go for it, sort of thing. If I were to get more grapes, which I might this year, I might miss the window though, I will definitely have it fermented in or aged in the test freezer that it's kept at the right temperature, or at least around 60 degrees Fahrenheit at the worst.
It looks like wine.
Looks like wine. Let's see how cleared out it is. I didn't really do any fining agents on this. No sulfites, none of that stuff. I mean, yeah, it's a hair murky.
Not really, though.
Yeah, not too bad. All right, let's get the smell.
All right.
I'm not getting nail polish in that.
I don't smell nail polish.
I'm getting a little bit of high alcohol taste.
That's what
smell.
I was getting too.
But before I was getting like nail polish.
Yeah.
This is good.
Now, I told you though it might just be high alcohol.
Yeah, you might be right.
I was like, it's smelling a little hot to me.
So if we let it sit for a while, will that mellow out?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So the longer you let something sit, the more the alcohol will mellow. And lots of people are bottled for 6 to 9 months before they release.
I've heard that too.
Yeah, so
3 months is still
is
really
early.
Young. Yeah. All right, well, let's see. See where we're at. Okay. That's actually, I'm okay with that. It's not terrible.
It's boozy, but it's totally drinkable.
It's a little boozy, she's right. But it has a nice fruitiness to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not sweet.
Mm-mm.
It's like a dry
It's very dry.
How about, what do you think?
It's kind of like raisiny in the smell.
It's a little raisiny, you're right. But the taste doesn't have that as much.
But the taste doesn't really have that. But
in the
raisiny.
Smell,
I get it. It's like pruny.
Pruny, it smells like a little bit like a port, a little bit.
Yeah, it does smell a little like a port. A boozy port.
A boozy port. But when you taste it, it's not sweet.
No.
So I don't...
Really dry. Can you measure the alcohol and what it is?
I think I said it in my original brew video, or winemaker video. I don't remember what it was. I think it was 13-ish, 14? I don't know. I'll dig it up. I'll throw it right here, right now.
But no, can you measure it for where it's at now?
No, because it was done fermenting when I transferred it. So it already completed its work.
I'll drink it.
It's very drinkable. The acidity, I would say, it's not that acidic.
It's got some acid, but it's not like the, whoa.
Yeah,
It's not like old world acid.
No, I'm not getting that like in the back of the tongue.
Yeah.
So, as far as the pruniness goes, would that age out too? And like mellow out? That might always be a little...
it'll drop. So usually what happens with aging of wine is your fruity characteristics drop out and your more earthy, mushroomy characteristics come forward.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So with red wine, white wine, anything you're aging. So if you're someone that likes wine on the more fruit-forward side, like if you like that big, bold, rich, intense Napa Cab, don't drink it too old. Drink it a bit younger. But if you like the more earthy, rustic, mushroomy thing age your wine?
I would say that I've had worse wine from her store. That's just true. Well, let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Wine that I'm not into as much. Also, I have had wine from her store that has had off flavors before, where we've smelled it does have nail polishy thing going on. Not a lot, but it happens. And I've had wine that tastes just as good as this on several occasions from her store, who was a commercial winemaker. So the fact that it turned out this good, and it could get a little better even with age, as far as the alcohol in it goes, I'm very happy with it. It is far better than the Wine Kit wine.
Way better.
Far better than the Wine Kit wine.
I'm going to pour myself a little more.
Yeah. We now thankfully have 50-ish bottles that we can actually enjoy. And yeah, it's a great turnout. So on that note, should we onesie it?
Yeah, it's onesie. You guys ready?
She's gonna
He's nervous.
she's gonna destroy me on this.
All right. Jason.
My man card is gone. It's gone. Thank you for watching. See you guys next time.